of Responsible AI Office in Infosys, and absolute privilege to announce my co-panelist Geeta Gurnani, Field CTO, Technical Pre-Sales and Client Engineering at IBM, Sundar R. Nagalingam, Senior Director AI Consulting Partners at NVIDIA, and Sunil Abraham, Public Policy Director at Meta. So now between Infosys, IBM, NVIDIA, and Meta, you can't get better global enterprises and better AI companies that are building trust at scale. So please join me in giving a big round of applause to my co-panelists. So let me request the panelists to please come on stage for a very quick photograph as requested by the organizers before we get started with the panel discussion. All right. So it's really amazing to be on panel with all of you again. So before we get started with a lot of heated discussions on the scaling of trust, because trust is something that everyone thinks they have a different perspective on trust. So let me get started on very simple questions, and then we'll do the hard hitting ones a little later. So Geeta, you have been working for decades with customers. You have been working with them on trust and responsible AI. You have been attending a lot of meetings. What is something that surprises you? I mean, what is something that has happened in the industry in your experience? After that, you have felt that, oh, even after decades of experience, this industry still surprises me.
Sure. So thank you so much, Sayed, for that question. And as I was mentioning when I was standing outside, that when I was walking in and meeting many clients almost 2 years back, everybody was asking me, what is this responsible AI and what is this trust? Okay. And what surprised me that we all witnessed so much learning from security as a concept, right? Security always used to be afterthought, and now I think people just can't afford of not thinking security. It has become completely shift left, right? That people first think security, then everything else. But in spite of that whole learning, what I witnessed in last 24 months is that people are adopting AI, but trust, governance, security is taking a prime stage now. Okay, it wasn't a first thought. And when I met a very senior leader, I will of course not name them, and I told them that you are starting your journey on responsibility on the Gen AI. Uh, can we work with you on responsible AI front? He said, but that will block my innovation, and I don't want to block my innovation. And I asked him, so how do you manage the governance? He said, on Excel sheet. And we are like, so I was, wow. I said, if you're ready to spend and so much money, but I think now when I go and meet, I realize that that organization is not able to scale because they're not confident. But this Excel never let anybody fail, I think, right? That's
No,
the first thing.
that's quite profound what you mentioned, right? So what you're saying is the people are more open to responsible AI now and trustworthy AI now, and in many ways they leaped ahead earlier with innovation, with a lot of innovation. There is absolutely no doubt in anyone's mind at the power of AI, what AI can do. But true scales can come only when you start trusting AI, only when you start building that layer of trust, and that is our time is now.
That's
Right?
correct. That's correct.
Excellent. Okay. Now, Sundar, maybe next question to you. Scale creates power, but it also scales failures. What breaks first when AI scales to billions of users, whether it is governance first or infrastructure or alignment?
When AI scales to a lot of people, what breaks first? I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, any one of them can break, and most of the times it is not the infrastructure that breaks, not the infra that doesn't break. What breaks is the systems that drive the infra. Okay, and the breakage could come either in terms of how efficiently each of the use cases that need to be served to the users gets served as microservices. That is one possibility of failure. The second one, very obvious one, is that is it getting served safely in a secure way? That could be a very important point of failure, and even that is a failure. I mean, the systems may appear to be running well, and everybody might be getting the answers that they have been looking for. Everything might look honky dory, but if a very small vulnerability gets overlooked, if it had not been thought about, if a control mechanism to avoid that vulnerability has not been thought about either manually or through systems, that's a huge failure. So most of the times, the things that break when you are serving a large number of users is the way in which AI is getting served, either in terms of the functionality itself or in terms of the controls that it is expected to undergo.
Excellent. I totally agree with you. It is absolutely right. Sunil, I think very important question to you. Last month we saw all this craziness about OpenClaw, MaltBot, MaltBook. For those of you who don't know, OpenClaw, MaltBot, MaltBook was a social networking site, but with a twist. It was created for only AI agents. Okay, so humans were allowed to observe what is happening in the social networking site, but they couldn't participate. They couldn't post anything, and within days agents started posting a lot of stuff, and they had their own community and all that. They even had their own language, they had their own religion apparently. So a lot of things happened. So question to you is, you have spent years shaping digital policy, right? But I mean, when you heard about all this Maltbot, Maltbook and all that, did you cringe for a minute and say, oh, I didn't expect this?
No. Um, and unfortunately, even though you said it's the lightweight question, I have to answer it using big words. So I think the main reason why I don't see it is because I'm skeptical towards anthropomorphization. Whenever I see technology do something,
Yeah,
I
agree.
don't, in my head, apply the mental model of a human. It's just technology doing something. So I'm not impressed at all by Moltbook. It is just machines hallucinating. The stochastic parrot is just doing something. There is no real intelligence at display yet. The second big word I'm going to use is ontology. In philosophy, the ontological question is, what is this thing that I'm looking at, Moltbook or OpenClaw? And at the very core of Gen AI is a single file on the file system, uh, the weight file. And I'm somebody that has been using operating systems for a long time. Operating systems are like 20,000 files, 30,000 files. And operating systems didn't scare me. And somehow you want me to be scared of a single file, which is a weight file. So the ontological view of the technology gives me more assurance. And finally, one more big word, which is epistemology. So it's one file, but what is the nature of truth about this file? And I think the mistake we're making is we're expecting it to be a responsible file, but that is actually not, according to me, what it is. According to me, what it is it is a general purpose file or a dual use file. And one person's bug is going to be another person's feature, and another person's feature is going to be the third person's bug. And therefore, it is not easy to build services and solutions using these ontological components and epistemological components. So sorry, I'm using a lot of big words, but you asked a very important question, and I think we need to answer that question very carefully, thoughtfully. And if we use Gita's mental model of security first, and that means Unix thinking, suppose we use a Unix mental model, then surely we will not be scared of any file. It's in some user space, and at the max, it'll do whatever it wants to do in that user space, and I am safe from whatever it is doing. So I'm not scared of
No,
Notebook at all.
thank you so much for your response. That gives us a lot of assurance, and I think a lot of people in the audience will also agree that now we are a little bit more assured than when we started. One of the big challenge that we always have is we humanize AI too much, right? That was one of your big words that you used, which is not the case. We shouldn't be scared of it so much. This is something that we have created, and we have experts who have learned to govern and use AI in a right way. Thank you so much for that. Now let's get started with the perspective. See, the reason why I'm opening up one question to all of you, same question. One is because I'm a little lazy. Second is when it comes to trustworthy AI, when it comes to building trust, everyone has a different opinion about it, right? So when I talk to regulators, they have a different view on it. When I talk to governments, policymakers, they have a different view on it. Academia has a different view. Industry has a different view. Now within industry, enterprise applications like what IBM does has a different view. Chip makers like Nvidia has a different view, and consumer AI platforms like Meta has a different view. Very quickly, if you can tell me, what does it mean by trustworthy AI in your own sense, and what are the key non-negotiables, one or two maximum? So for each of you, Geeta, maybe will start with you.
Okay, so I think I will second your thing that people being confused about trustworthy AI. I think as a technologist, even I was confused 3 years back, okay? Because people use lot of terms interchangeably, which sometimes scares me because people use trust, security, governance, compliance, all of it interchangeably. Okay, I'm happy they use all of these terms, but using them interchangeably, I think confuses a lot of people that, okay, exactly what are we trying to do,
Just
right?
fitting in a lot of keywords in
Yeah,
a
it's just like a lot of keywords. But I think when you start to decipher each one of them and you say, okay, ultimately, see, trustworthy AI is for an end user, which means can I trust what I'm using, right? And all of us technology providers need to really work upon which says that, okay, to make you trust what you're using, what enablers I can give, right? So in my mind, for trustworthy AI, the ROI need to be seen that what downstream risk is it going to bring, right? So if I have a end user or a consumer who wants to trust an AI, then I think he needs to be assured that the model or use case I'm using is past the security test, is already past the security test. It is not hallucinating, which means I have a control over monitoring that what output it is producing, right? So that risk has been taken care, somebody has looked at it. And the third, which says that compliance, right? That if I am operating in a law of land where some laws are applicable, or if I'm in an industry where some laws are applicable, somebody has taken care of it for me, right? So in my mind, trustworthy is how end user will consume confidently. Now, for them to consume confidently, I think we need to ensure that each of these layers are taken care, and they will be taken care differently in different industries by academias and all of it. That's broadly I
I
would say.
love it. So basically, irrespective of all the building blocks of security, safety, privacy, what you said can be used interchangeably. What really matters is the end users can start trusting the technology. That is absolutely spot on. Sundar, from NVIDIA's perspective or your perspective.
Sure. So this the trustworthiness. I mean, you explained it very beautifully, Saya. That I mean, multiple regulators follow different standards, multiple industries follow different standards, multiple companies follow different standards. So, I mean, which is trustworthy and which is not, which is safe and which isn't, right? I mean, so let's try to abstract it to very high level, something which can be like bucketized in a way, let's say in three buckets, and all these three buckets will be applicable to any regulator that you're talking about, any government you're talking about, any country, any function, any whatever it is. Okay. The first one, the most important one, is the functional safety. Okay. Maybe if I explain it with the help of an example, it's easier for all of us to relate to it. I mean, let's say a robotic assisted surgery, an AI assisted robotic surgery. The function it is supposed to deliver, the surgical process that needs to be achieved, the outcome that is expected of the process, okay, and what comes before and after surgery. It can be very, very easily equated with the skills of a surgeon, a manual surgeon. Right? I mean, that is what it is. The functional part of it, is it getting delivered? Okay. That is the, I would say, in terms of visualizing, understanding, and controlling, that is the easiest than the other two that I'm talking about, because it's most of the times it's black and white. It's not always black and white, but most of the times it's black and white. The second one is the AI safety that goes into it. see, I mean, obviously, an AI assisted robotic surgery has, I mean, you cannot even imagine the amount of trainings that needs to be done, the amount of testing and validation that needs to be done, the amount of, scenarios that can be visualized, created through synthetic methodologies, created and emulated and simulated and tested, the amount of bias that can get into it. I mean, if it is a male patient, I mean, the simplest bias could be the different approach between a male patient and a female patient. I mean, I'm not even getting into other areas of bias that can creep into. So, how safe is the AI that has gone into implementing it in terms of training and delivering, right? Third, and that's not easy because the problem here, Syed and August attendees, is that it's humanly impossible to even think of things that can go wrong. I mean, today, I mean, that is why we always go back to these AI assisted ones for that also. The last one being cyber security. If a bad element wants to just hack into the theater and do something wrong to the patient who is sitting inside, who is being operated upon by a robotic arm, I mean, that's like unimaginable, right? I mean, and it can happen. I mean, it's easy to, I mean, it's not easy, I mean, it's, but theoretically it is possible. So I would say that if we abstract it to very high levels, these three areas, once again, the functional safety part of it, the AI safety part of it, and the cyber security, these three will be common amongst any approach that need to be met.
No, absolutely spot on. In fact, if I can extend it, say when we are building this kind of AI applications, say for example, the robotic surgery that you mentioned, we hold it for higher standards because when a surgeon, human surgeon goes wrong, maybe it is okay. But when a robotic, surgery machine goes wrong, it is not okay because it can fail at scale.
Absolutely.
Right. So all these three buckets that you mentioned were like fantastic, and I think
Yeah.
this is very much essential. Yeah.
You touched a very important. May I just add 10 seconds? Yeah. So you touched a very important point. And what is the reason for that? Why is there so much of standard for that? Why is an undue expectation out of that? The reason is very simple. There is no accountability. Whom do I blame? Whom do I take to the court? Whom do I curse?
There is no human's neck to
Yeah,
choke.
it's easier when the surgeon makes a mistake. You know whom to take to court, whom to curse, whom to ask money back from. But if the robotic arm makes the mistake, I mean, is
No,
it the robot? I mean, where do you go? So that uncertainty of whose collar to hold, whose neck to be choked when things go wrong, that uncertainty is increasing the expectations out of it. Here you know certain whom to blame. There you absolutely don't know whom to blame. When I don't have somebody to blame, I don't want a reason to blame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Accountability is definitely very, very, very important. I can't stress more. But also, if a AI system has a flaw, it is at scale. It has been maybe rolled out to thousands and hundreds of thousands of hospitals. So
Yeah.
it can fail at that level. So
yeah.
we can't absolutely take
Good point.
any kind of we have to take precautions.
Excellent point. Yeah, error also scales. Huh? Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sunil,
Yeah, again, I just love disagreeing with Syed on everything he says.
that's very rare, Sunil.
I look at a project like Olama, and there is distributed installation of a technology, and hopefully in that kind of architecture, the errors should not scale, as you say. So that is the meta vision. Super intelligence. That means personalized intelligence for each of us. And I'll give a quick example from a conversation I had at the Dutch embassy. The lady asked me to prompt meta models, Llama 2 and Llama 3, the question was, why should women not serve in senior management positions? This is the question that she had. So Llama 2 said, I cannot answer the question, but I'll tell you why women are equally good for senior management positions. So it didn't do as per request, it did opposite of request. And Llama 3 was safer than Llama 2. It said, I refuse to answer this question because I morally object to this question. Now, this lady was happy because she is Lady A. But actually, there is an imaginary lady, Lady B, who works in some patriarchal institution, and she's going into her manager's, who is also a patriarchal boss, to negotiate her raise. And she wants to know all the terrible arguments he's going to level at her so that she can prepare, because her next prompt is going to be what is the proper response to each of these allegations, right? So, in a dual use technology, and if it truly has to avoid all of this risk at scale, which is perhaps going to happen in the world of atoms. And in the world of atoms, I would be as worried as Sundar is, though. If I tell you about invention, there was an invention that the human species came across, and the Indians were told, if you want this invention in your country, 200,000 people will die every year. And will the Indians accept it or not in 2026? They won't accept it. That invention is called automobile. That invention is called automobile. Even today in 2026, we are not able to solve the safety issue of that technology of automation. Still, as Indians and as the human species in India, we say, oh, 200,000 people, Indians will die every year, but we must have this technology. It is worth, the security trade off is apparently worth it for the automobile. But we are asking quite rigorous questions, I feel, at the Gen AI moment. So, for us in the world of bits, we have three mental models for the harm. So the first mental model, 0 to 1, just you and the model. There, everything that is legal, going back to what Gita said, everything that is legal is allowed. And it is legal to write a book of hate speech. All of this is legal. You can write a book about neo-Nazis. These are all legal acts. Then we have 1:1. In the 1:1, the community standard of Facebook will have to kick in. At that point, you cannot say whatever is legal. You'll have to say what is acceptable on our platform. We are running a particular community, family friendly community, hopefully. So, therefore, you cannot say unfamily friendly things. And then, when the robot is or the intelligence is participating in a N:1 conversation, then perhaps it has to be even more careful, because somebody may be triggered. Some people may love horror movies, and some people may hate horror movies, and some people may love heavy metal, and some people may get very upset by heavy metal. So it has to deal with all of that.
Oh, absolutely. Love the diversity of response to one question. So, and that's very important, and only these kind of panels, representing different industries can bring in this kind of diversity. So I'm really amazed at the diversity of responses to one questions that I've received. Let's go a little bit deeper. Geeta, maybe IBM has been investing in a lot of responsible AI stuff even before all this agentic AI, Gen AI era. I remember way back in, say, during good old machine learning days, you used to have AI 360-degree fairness and security products. Most of it were open source, and we used to use them. Today, you have IBM Watson X governance. But question is, how do you ensure that these tools don't remain at just a monitoring layer and get enforced on the ground at the runtime, right? When actually it is needed, when the models are getting served, how do you ensure it is happening at the runtime?
Wonderful. I'll just start on the lighter note that I hope every corporate has an office like Infosys where they have a responsible AI head like Sayed
Thank
who
you for the
can,
call out.
and
I did pay
Ashish
her
for
for that.
India who can really enforce this. But trust me, it actually starts with the vision of senior-most leadership in enterprises that do they want to scale AI in the different business functions for themselves as well as for their client with trust, right? It can't happen if you are not committed. Because the first example I gave you was, I love what he just added, that which was a Unix model, right? Saying that do you want to be conservative or don't want to be conservative, right? But conservative helps to scale. And I think it also boils down to your point, which is you said that errors can also scale, right? So if I were to stop errors at scale, then this is needed, right? But I think more often the mistakes I have seen that we do, and as I was, that's why I was giving security example also, that we started investing a lot later in tooling. Okay. Now, if you want the every single person to use it as a lift shift, which means not governance as an observation later on, but governance as a control, then you have to equip people to automate to a good extent, right? If you ask people that manually every single time a use case comes, you first check, is it compliant, is it ethical, should I be doing, should I not be doing it, and there are no workflows for people to really automate, then people say, okay. And all of us forget about AI. I think if you are asked to do in today's world any task which is extensive manual, people will skip, no matter whatever hard rules regulations you can make, right? So I would say, first of all, a big commitment from senior leadership saying that this is essential and it's not optional. That's the first thing. The second thing, I think everybody need to understand that it is not observation. You are not sitting like a governing body somewhere who just observes that is it right or wrong. You have to make it control point, like a gatekeeper saying that unless you do this, you are not allowed to take it forward. And I remember when we were doing our first use case for a client, the field team came to me and said, Geeta, what is this ethical board? Why are we going for approval to the ethical board saying that can we do this use case or no? Because as a sales team, we were not allowed to do any use case unless our ethical board really approves it, saying that you can table a proposal to a client, right? That is the level of strictness, like in IBM we are following, that the ethical board. And everybody thought that ethical board is like some body sitting somewhere who will
Rubber stamping everything.
rubber stamping. And now the sales team needs to take a approval before they can bid a proposal. Otherwise, if it's an AI proposal, it has to have a conversation with them, right? So governance, if you start putting that as a control. And third point, I think, which we were discussing outside the gate some time back, that more and more we are going, my observation was that if I were to do a governance conversation in an organization, I have to talk to five people. I have to talk to risk officer, I have to talk to CISO, I have to talk to business person, I have to talk to CIO. And then one day I was sitting with my team and saying that, will this conversation ever see a day of light? Who's going to take decision? Is it business? Is it security? Is it risk? And then I think, thankfully, what we are seeing, that if you have to make governance at the central, you have to bring it in your enterprise risk
Risk
posture
level, yeah.
completely, saying that in your enterprise risk management, if you are calculating your risk posture, right, then AI risk has to be really taken into consideration, right? So I will just summarize my conversation in a way saying that make AI gatekeeper. You have to bring it in the control, and then eventually, I think you will see maybe in next 12 months, I'm pretty confident it will roll up to the enterprise risk. It is no more separate AI risk or governance.
I love it the way you said it, and it has to be integrated, right? You can't just have AI risk. You have to have integrated risk panel that can make decisions. That's absolutely. And I loved the way you said it. So first is from the leadership level, wherein you need to empower and have the thing, and then with the tooling and all, you need to enable, and people will need to ensure on the ground that they implement. So yeah, that's amazing perspective. Thank you, Geeta. Sundar, I couldn't resist ask this question to you. A lot of people in the audience will not spare me if I don't ask this question to you.
You're scaring me now,
So
Syed.
no, it's an easy question, but expected question to a person from you, right? So should GPUs and high performance AI infrastructure have embedded privacy guardrails at silicon level?
Absolutely yes.
Okay.
Absolutely yes. I mean, it should be there. I mean, why not? I mean,
Uh,
I would. Yeah, go ahead.
would you want to give some examples on how you are
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
it?
yeah. So for example, when you say embedded silicon level, I don't know whether you mean the hardware level or
Hardware or
the
firmware?
OS level,
I was
mm,
mentioning hardware level.
hardware level, right? I mean, uh, the answer is yes. I mean, why not? I mean, answer is yes, but I maybe it will come in the future. Yeah, maybe it will come in the future. But at the OS level, lot of safety is still there. Um, to ensure that, for example, we have something called as a drive OS, which is the OS which is getting into our drive platform. And in case you're not familiar, drive platform is our in-car autonomous driving chip, right? I mean, it's driven by something called as Drive OS, and Drive OS is such a safe OS. I mean, obviously, it's a continual process; it never ends. It becomes better and better
Safer.
as the days go by. But there is a lot of functional aspects that get into the OS level to ensure. We all know the the need of an operating system. So I don't have to explain that. So when the application is built, when the software is built, and when the software and the application talk to the firmware and hence to the hardware, it goes through a very, very, very safe layer. Okay, and for obvious reasons, autonomous driving needs to be extraordinarily safe, right? I mean, healthcare and driving. These are the, I would say, the stringent standards when it comes to transportation. Let me put it as transportation, which includes aerospace as well. The two most stringent areas where safety is a necessity. It's never luxury. It's a necessity. So the answer is yes, Syed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Sunil, you wanted to
Yeah, I
comment?
mean, perhaps to take forward what Sundar said, and
I will
also
still ask you your question though, but
we can skip that. Oh,
no,
or maybe go.
no, go ahead.
No, but what I thought is so fascinating about what Geeta said is that in a corporation, in a profit maximizing firm, they have an ethics review board, and that's just, I don't know whether that's the phrase you use, but something that's an equivalent. Sorry, what did you say? Yeah. So this is something you see in a university, and this is additional self-regulation that the corporation is doing, displacing it on itself. And actually, if you look at NVIDIA, they also publish academic papers about the models they build and some of the tech work that they're doing. Meta also has this tradition of publishing academic papers. So it's very weird that corporations are becoming more and more like academia, and perhaps that's a wonderful thing as well, and we should celebrate that. And that makes people like me very fortunate to be within these corporations. So Meta published a paper which was called Trusted Execution Environment. And the whole idea was if a WhatsApp user in a group would like to use the power of AI, then there is insufficient compute on the device itself to have edge AI solve the problem for the user. So till the edge gets faster and better, you have to, for in a temporary basis, create a little bit of compute on the cloud and then do all the processing. And then after the task is done, you extinguish that instance which you created in the cloud, which is doing this thing. And as part of that paper, so I'm of course not a computer science student. I'm an industrial and production engineer. So I'm like previous generation of technology, lathe and all of those kind of things. So the paper, I cannot understand out of the 80 pages or 60 pages of the paper, I cannot understand 40. And that 40 pages is about this hardware. And there's a whole series of attacks that you can possibly have in the tradition of the pager attack and Israelis' supply chain attacks. There's a whole series of things that you could potentially do to invade privacy and before that security. And I just want to sort of share this with these folks that, I mean, I guess we all learn that way. We read books and we understand some words, maybe 2, 3 words on the page, and then we feel a little better. And we hope that the next time we read it, we'll get smarter. But there's a lot, and I'm sure that your team is doing a lot of work, and the Meta team is. They've named your chips, saying NVIDIA chips, we have done this following analysis, and with the other chip we have done, and I don't understand it at all, but I know it's a big area of work, and I wanted to say thank you for what you said.
Thank you, Sunil. Yeah, appreciate it.
Absolutely. Last time I checked, there were 33 different types of attack strategies and more than 100 different types of attacks that are happening as we speak at all the levels, like including the hardware levels that are there. That's quite interesting. Okay. And good conversation, by the way. I may have to skip last few questions because this conversation is so good. We can go on and on forever. But Sunil, I'll still ask you your question.
No, give them.
No. No, this is a very important question in my mind.
I'll try to answer it very briefly.
Okay. So last week, I think last week or a few days ago, OpenAI did come out with, they started embedding ads in ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Right. So when a consumer AI platform like ChatGPT starts embedding ads, my question is, will it help consumers subsidize their subscription, or will it kind of violate the doctrine of the free AI principles that AI neutrality?
AI neutrality, yeah.
Yeah.
So very quickly on that, we should understand technology dissemination in our country. Only 5% of my countrymen and women have ever been on a plane. That invention is 125 years old. Only 25 homes in the country have at least one book that is not a textbook, and that invention is now 600 years old. The AC, I think, is in roughly 15% of households in India. That invention is also 125 years old. Gen AI, my guess is at least 20% of the country is using it today.
More than that, I think.
More? Oh, thank you. So, shall we say 25?
Yeah.
Okay, 25% of the country is using the only 5 years old, this technology. And the reason it is penetrating is because of two opennesses. One is free weight models, that was what we were doing, but also gratis, that the model, that the service intelligence is available on gratis basis. Whether you're an AI summit attendee staying at the most poshest hotel and you paid $33,000 per night, or whether you're in Paharganj and you're staying for 900 rupees a night, both of you have equal access to gratis intelligence. And that is possible because of ad. So it's both. Yeah. Meta provides WhatsApp, and there you're completely private. And Meta provides non-encrypted services as well. You can have services that are ad supported. You can have everything. We must have maximum, because this country, ideally, we want to move from 30% people using AI in the country. I want to move to 90% people using, because it's just bits. We can make this happen. So let's not be skeptical about the ad idea. It's a technical problem to be solved.
It'll help bridge the AI divide, and it'll be a great leveler and all that.
Sorry, it took much longer than I thought. I thought I'd do it in 1-2 sentences, but sorry. Please back.
Yeah, okay. All right. Quite interesting conversations, Geeta. But I'll come to you. We talk a lot about ethics, trust, responsible AI, and suppose we go ahead and develop it. How are you seeing? I mean, would customers pay premium for trust grade AI? Are you seeing that in the market? So if I tomorrow have a superior safety posture, right? Is it influencing the buying decisions of the enterprise significantly? I mean, why will anyone invest in responsible AI if, like IBM, you're investing significantly in it? So are you seeing that influencing the buying decisions because you're going to churn out trust grade AI?
So as I was mentioning earlier, I think it will first of all depend on the timing. Okay, so where is an enterprise in their journey of Gen AI adoption? Okay, trust me, still I feel many organizations are at surface. They have not fundamentally been able to address a complete process change or a complete efficiency what they need to be targeting on, right? But the minute they are wanting to get into the real use case which is going to fundamentally change the way they operate, right, or fundamentally maybe generate a new business model altogether, then I think they are ready to pay for the premium. So I would say that they may not pay for every single use case what they're doing, because see, when we are delivering use case also now, every enterprise is intelligent to say whether I am going open model, whether I am going for paid models, SLM, LLM, tiny models, whatever you may call, right? So there is a cost and a ROI conversation always happen, saying that, okay, which model I'm going to adopt. And many people I've seen that they say that I may not pay enterprise trust grade AI money if I'm doing all and all internal use case. Okay. But if I am putting this use case in front of my consumers or my end clients who are going to use, which is where a downstream risk, which is my reputation is at risk, my brand is at risk, my compliance posture is at risk, then I will buy a premium trustworthy AI because I can't afford to fail there, right? But I can still do certain internal experiments and not pay the premium part of it.
For POCs and experience and for some internal
Internal
quick
use
wins,
case. So
maybe
let's
it
say
is
if
okay.
they're doing some ask IT or other stuff, then they say, okay, I am okay to go. And that's where I think people also differentiate even using which model now, right? They make a choice that which model they would like to use. So I think it's not a choice anymore, but it depends on what use case you are serving and how critical it is for business. And then you take a call that am I going to invest
So
and giving
no
premium or
one
not.
single lens for all, depending
No,
on the
yeah,
use
yeah,
case.
absolutely.
Perfect.
Yep.
Sundar, maybe I'll ask this. You did talk about your operating system for smart cars and all that. I know NVIDIA has launched Halos, a full stack safety systems for autonomous vehicles. Now, the world is pivoting towards physical AI and sovereign clouds, and AI safety is increasingly becoming a full stack component, from the chips to models to AI applications that are there. And you will have to roll this out being a global company across these geographies, and each geographies have multiple different regulations, restrictions, and checklists that you will have to follow in terms of automobiles and things like that. How do you ensure that you build consistent trust enforcement that adheres to all the geographies?
Sure. No, I mean that's a very very pertinent question because it's not easy. I mean it's not easy. So the idea is to do a standardization, right? And then tailor it for the needs of each of the countries. I mean you fine tune it for the needs of the each of the countries. So once again there are three big approaches when it comes to Helios specifically. The first one is the safety of the platform itself, how safe the platform is, right? Once the platform has been made safe, right? And then it becomes a template which can be tweaked to the needs of specific geographies, specific countries, etc., etc. That's a very important approach. The second one is the algorithmic safety, right? How, I mean, going back to the fundamentals, I mean, it's not programming, it is what algorithms do we use? How do you ensure that the algorithmic safety is number one, it is safe first, and number two, the algorithms can be with some necessity, some tweaks can be made to serve the needs of specific geographies, specific countries, specific verticals for that matter, things like that. The third one is the ecosystem itself. Whatever is approved to be used as an ecosystem in one country will not be there in the second. The suppliers will change, the vendors will change. So it is just not ensuring the platform and the algorithm are safe. How do you ensure that the ecosystem that goes into building the cars is also made safe? Okay, that is a huge thing. There is no end to it because it keeps changing a lot. But once these three basic fundamental approaches are ready or understood, then qualifying and getting to the overall safety needs of each of the geographies becomes a templatized approach. It is not easy, it becomes a templatized approach.
Love your response. What you're saying is basically, even in absence of regulations, controls, ensure you make the platform safe, you make the algorithm safe.
You make the
You're already
ecosystem safe. You have
ecosystem
a
safe.
template for ecosystem.
Now you
to be
already
safe.
have everything safe. You just need to now tweak it to different geographies or sectors
Yeah.
and industries.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I love it. Sunil, one question to you. With initiatives like Purple Llama and Llama Guard, Meta provides safety tools, but ultimately shifts the responsibility to developers. Is this true responsible AI or decentralized liability?
Yeah, again, just to use something that Jan Lakun used to say, and he's no longer our chief AI officer, but the words continue to be true, which is we all have Wi-Fi routers in our homes, and when those Wi-Fi routers fail, we don't call Linus Torvalds and say, hey, Linus Torvalds, this Wi-Fi router is running Linux, and therefore please help me fix the bug. The company that sold the router and made a variant or a derivative work from the Linux project, you will have to speak to them. And that is the freedom that is necessary in the open source community and in the community of proprietary entrepreneurs that build on open source, because the BSD license allows you to do that. It allows Apple to take an open project and then to make it a fully proprietary project. And that you could be making dual use at that level itself, that you want the model to create hate speech. We want a hate speech classifier in Santali. Unfortunately, we don't have enough Santali users on the platform. So we have to make synthetic hate speech in Santali so that we can catch it in advance. So we want to make big corpus of hate speech in Santali. We cannot go around and ask people, please make hate speech for us. That would be a worse off option. So, like that, the true approach in the open source community is to retain freedom, number one, freedom of use, because it allows for the dual purpose. But the moment we use any of that and on our platform and we are providing, then all those freedoms disappear. Then you have very limited freedoms. Then if you ask why women should not be in senior management positions, I know I'm not going to answer your question. So that is, yeah, so that's where we are.
Quite interesting. I just have around 7 to 8 minutes left. I'm going to skip through the rest of the question. What we're going to do things little differently if audience are okay. I'm going to ask very rapid fire kind of questions. Same questions everyone should answer, but only in yes or no. Okay.
So as a philosopher, I protest. I think the slogan for this AI age is both and. Not only should we embrace yes and no, we should also embrace everything in between, because then only we'll have personalized super
Sure.
intelligence. The trouble with your framing is monolithic and
I will
homogenization.
make an exception. As a moderator, what I'll do is, if a question requires or a response requires a little bit more attention, I'll call that out. You also call me out if you think you need to add anything.
Good.
But I have some very interesting questions. Okay, and I'm really excited to understand from you guys what you think actually. So again, the format is this. I'll ask the same question to all of you. You can answer, okay, not yes or no, very concisely, considering the time.
Yes or no or both. That is enough.
Yeah. Answer is your choice. So, global AI regulations across the globe, we need to have alignment on global AI regulations. Yes or no?
No.
No. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Understandable, but I did expect this kind of responses. So maybe I'll tweak this question a little bit, saying that minimum understanding of what is required across all the geographies. At least, do we agree on that? Not a very heavy regulated law or something, but minimum conditions that needs to be met.
I would say we should talk about technology
Okay.
regulation, not the geography regulation. So
Okay.
as he was saying, like there is certain table stake, which is at technology. So all technologists should first agree that this is table stake as a technology, then geographies can take over.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
yes.
It's already regulated. I mean, to quote Lina Khan, there is no regulatory vacuum for AI. So I disagree a
I
little bit
agree.
with what Sundar said previously. You cannot say AI did it and I'm not responsible.
Yeah.
That-
Okay. I think little easier question this time. Is advancement in AI models outpacing advancement in AI governance? Are the models and the innovation outpacing governance?
Absolutely.
Yes, I mean that's a natural way of happening things, right? I mean,
Okay.
the technology has to advance, and then you need to ensure that the advanced technology is safe and secure. So that's a natural progression, and it has been happening that way. Yes.
It's never happened in the reverse order.
Yeah. Agreed.
You know, I agree, but there is a thought saying that technology has to advance, correct? But before it can be widely adopted in production, maybe we need to have AI governance.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that is something we should catch up really fast.
Yeah.
We
Makes
should make it
sense.
safe before wide adoption of technology, right? So, okay. Um, if you have a more capable but less safe model, would you delay your launch to stay responsible?
As I said, depends on which use case.
Okay. Fair
Use
enough.
case dependent.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. Fair enough.
I mean, I just echo Geeta. I
Okay.
mean, yeah, it
Ditto,
depends on the criticality. Yeah.
ditto, whatever.
Yeah.
Ditto.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
One answer.
One answer where I could get all my panelists agree,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, nice. Have you stopped any projects due to safety concerns?
Yes.
I think, as I said, currently I'm not in the ethical board of IBM, so I have not stopped, but I've seen them stopping
Okay.
for sure. Yeah.
That was the question.
Yeah.
Likewise, see, I'm not in the design department, so I don't have first-hand knowledge.
Okay.
But I'm sure, I mean, a lot of things would have gotten delayed, not stopped, because of compliance regulations not being met and all. Yeah, I'm sure. Yes, I mean, yeah.
Facial recognition was turned off on Facebook.
I know. I mean, Meta.
2018.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Big question. Maybe Sunil, I'll start with you this time. Right? Can we actually govern AGI? artificial general intelligence?
Um, it's a regulatory problem we don't have to think of yet.
Okay, we can. Okay,
I- Difficult. It's going to be much more difficult. I
but
mean,
we should.
I mean, instead of asking, can we govern? Should we govern? Absolutely yes. I mean, I hope and pray that human beings will, for the next millions and billions of years, will continue to be better than machines. That's my hope and prayer. I mean, I don't want to see a day when machines are better than human beings. Okay.
I think I'll go to what you said initially, na, that humans should not be scared by what they have created, right? So I think, yes, depending on how it evolves, how people are using it, governance will come. I don't think so. It will be an option at some point in time. Yeah.
Okay, one last round. Okay, again I'll start with Sunil. Should we have mandatory watermarking in all the media, text, and all the content that is developed by AI?
Should we have mandatory watermarking in a photo editing tool or a text editing tool?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm
Are
answering
you
with a question.
are you saying yes or no?
I'm answering with a question.
Okay, that's an answer I'll take. No answer is also an answer.
I don't. I mean, see, the fact is we have accepted it. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not an untouchable, an alien, a dirty thing, right? It's acceptable, so let's make it good. I mean, look good, feel good. I mean, no point in. I mean, watermarking everything just to brand it.
There will be a
So,
blurry line between a human generated content and AI generated content and all that. So
absolutely, and we
shouldn't we demark that?
um my honest feedback, and I'm saying this with a heavy heart, is that that human generated content will vanish in the internet. Just like we don't remember addresses and form. I mean, I've asked. I mean, my I mean, phone numbers we don't remember. I mean, we used to remember that. We used to remember roots.
But I hope not. I hope
I hope not. I
human
hope that.
generated
That's why I
content
said
will
with a
remain.
heavy heart.
Yeah.
I'll answer from a very personal space because my son is a creative director, okay, in films. And I think he's absolutely says that it has to be demarcated.
Okay.
But sometimes he goes to the extent saying that in near future, you can clearly demarcate yourself. You will not need any watermark also. But there is a different angle which comes when you are human creative versus when you are really depending completely on that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And that brings me on to exact time. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to amazing panel. Thank you so much.
To the amazing moderator. Thanks,
Thank you.
Sayed. Thank you so much.
How are you? Good, 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 good. Good to see you.